Now discuss about the parotid gland, part 1. Parotid gland is a predominantly serous type of the gland. That means it has more serous acini in comparison to mucous acini. That's why its secretion is watery. Parotid term, that means para means around, tid means ear, otid, parotid, around the ear, that means structure around the ear. Here is external acoustic meatus, here is position of mandible, this is position of mandible. Here is styloid process. This is mastoid process. Here is external acoustic meatus. This is zygomatic arch. Here one muscle is present. That is sternocleidomastoid. This muscle is sternocleidomastoid. This is sternocleidomastoid. Here is position of parotid gland. Here is position of parotid duct. This is position of parotid gland. You can see here, this is sternocleidomastoid, this is externally acoustic meatus, this is parotid gland, and here is one muscle like deep to parotid gland. That is, this muscle is masseter. This is masseter. This is position of parotid gland. It lies below the external acoustic meatus, and anteriorly it is bounded by ramus of the mandible, posteriorly it is bounded by sternocleidomastoid. If you cut a transverse section at this level, you will find this is ramus of the mandible. This part, this is ramus of the mandible, and posteriorly, here is at this level, there is mastoid process. Here is position of, this is mastoid process. This is ramus of the mandible. This is mastoid process. So anterior structure is this, posterior structure is this. The gland lies within this, it lies between these two structures. Here one muscle covers this from outer side. This muscle is this is masseter, this muscle is masseter, and on inner side there is another muscle. This is medial pterygoid muscle, and here one muscle lies here, that is sternocleidomastoid muscle, and there is posterior belly of the digastric. This is posterior belly of the digastric. Position of the gland. The gland lies here. This is position of the gland. It is like this. So anterior to this is the ramus of the mandible, posterior is the mastoid, here is the ramus of the mandible, posterior mastoid, and sternocleidomastoid, and also posterior belly of the digestive. The weight of gland is about 15 grams, and its weight is about 15 grams, and this gland is enclosed within a fibrous covering. This is fibrous covering. This is capsule of the gland. This is capsule of the gland. This is capsule of the gland. This is the capsule is covering, which formed by investing layer of deep cervical fascia. So here investing layer of deep cervical fascia splits and covers the gland from both sides. So this is investing layer of the deep cervical fascia. Superficial layer is thick and this deep layer is thin. This superficial layer is adherent with superiorly with the zygomatic arch. It also attached with the zygomatic arch, and this deep layer is attached also here with the styloid process. In this diagram, here is position of the styloid process. This is the styloid process, and there is structures attached with the styloid process, so it becomes styloid apparatus. Another thing, it has apex. This is external feature. It has apex which lies towards the downward. It has base. So this is base which lies upward near the external acoustic meatus and temporomandibular joint. It has apex, base, anterior border, posterior border. Here in this section you can see this is anterior border, this is posterior border, and there is also another border, that is medial border. This border is medial border. So this is anterior border, this is posterior border, this is medial border. So it has apex, base, and three borders: anterior border, medial border, posterior border. And there are three surfaces. One is superficial surface between anterior and posterior border. This is superficial surface. In this diagram, this is superficial surface. And there are deep surface from here to here. This is deep surface. This deep surface is divided into two parts by medial border. This is medial border, into anteromedial, and this is posteromedial surface. So superficial surface and anteromedial surface and posteromedial surface. So there are three surfaces, three borders, and apex and base. So these are external features of the parotid gland. Thank you. Now parotid gland part 2. In this section, we'll discuss about the structure within the parotid gland. So structure which lies within the substance of parotid gland, these structures from medial to lateral side. The medial most structure is here. This is medial most structure. This is external carotid artery. This is external carotid artery. Then just lateral to this, there is retromandibular vein. This is retromandibular vein. So external carotid artery from medial most structure. This is external carotid artery, and this is retromandibular vein. And another structure is, that is facial nerve. This is facial nerve. So from medial to lateral side, these structures are present: external carotid artery, retromandibular vein, and facial nerve. Important thing, three structures passes through the substance, but only two structures give supply. This artery gives supply, and this vein receives blood through the gland. But this nerve it only passes through the substance of gland and it do not give supply to the gland. This is facial nerve. So this medial to lateral structures, if you draw here, so this is external carotid artery. This is external carotid artery, passes through this surface, that is posteromedial surface, and it gives branches. On posterior side, it gives branch, posterior auricular. This is posterior auricular branch. This is external carotid artery, and here it gives branch. This is maxillary artery. Here it gives branch, transverse facial artery, and here it gives, this is superficial temporal artery. So these are the branches of the external carotid artery within the substance of the gland. These are the medial-most structure. Then lateral to this, another thing, that is retromandibular vein. Here is superficial temporal vein. It joins with this transverse facial vein. It joins with the maxillary vein, and here near the apex it divides into anterior and posterior division. So this is superficial temporal vein. Superficial temporal vein. This is transverse facial vein. This is transverse facial vein accompanying the artery. This is maxillary vein accompanying the maxillary artery. And from here to here, it is a retromandibular vein. This becomes retromandibular vein. By joining the maxillary vein and superficial temporal vein, this vein is retromandibular vein. And near the apex, it divides into anterior and posterior division. Anterior division joins with the facial vein and form the common facial vein. This is common facial vein, and it opens into internal jugular vein. It opens into the internal jugular vein. Internal jugular vein. And posteriorly, here is posterior auricular vein. It joins with posterior division, and it opens into, it forms the external jugular vein. So here internal jugular vein and external jugular vein both opens into the subclavian vein. This is subclavian vein. So this and this open into the subclavian vein. So this is venous vein passing through the substance of the gland, artery passing through the substance of the gland, and the structure, that is facial nerve. Facial nerve, it also enters through the posteromedial surface here and runs upward, runs forward here. It enters through this side and it divides into 5 branches. This is temporal, zygomatic, buccal. Buccal gives upper division, lower division. Here is mandibular. This is cervical. So it gives 5 branches within the substance of the gland. And these branches arise from the anterior border of the gland. So these structures from medial to lateral, there are external carotid artery, retromandibular vein, and facial nerve. Thank you. Now, parotid gland part 3. In this section, we will discuss about the relations of the parotid gland. Here, it has apex, as you have seen. This is apex. Here, the modification of deep fascia, which extend from styloid process to mandible. This is stylomandibular ligament. Here, this is thickening of deep fascia between the angle of the mandible to styloid process. This is stylomandibular ligament. So apex is related to stylomandibular ligament here, and base is related with the external acoustic meatus and temporomandibular joint, Here, anterior border is related with the parotid duct, and this is parotid duct, and these branches, temporal, zygomatic, upper buccal, lower buccal, mandibular and cervical branch of the facial nerve, and here transverse facial artery and vein, maxillary artery and vein. These structures are related to its anterior border, and posterior border is related with the sternocleidomastoid muscle, mastoid bone, sternocleidomastoid muscles. Here, this is posterior border, this is anterior border. And here, this is medial border. This medial border is related with the, here you can find, this is wall of the pharynx. This is wall of the pharynx. So medial border is related with the wall of the pharynx. Surface, superficial surface is related with the skin. Here is skin, outermost structure is skin. Then there is fascia, superficial fascia. This is deep fascia, which covers this. And in this, there is a nerve. There is posterior auricular nerve. Great auricular nerve. This is great auricular nerve. And another structure, here you will find pre-auricular lymph node. Pre-auricular lymph node or parotid lymph node. Here present. And this is relation of the superficial surface. Anteromedial surface related with posterior border, the ramus of the mandible, masseter, and medial pterygoid muscle. This is anteromedial. This is posteromedial surface, which is related with the mastoid process, sternocleidomastoid, posterior berry of digestive, and here is styloid apparatus. So these structures are present here. Here is also internal artery. And internal jugular vein. So these are the relations of the parotid glands. Thank you. Now we'll discuss about the part 4 of the parotid gland. In this section, we'll discuss about the nerve supply. Parotid gland is supplied by 3 types of the nerve: sensory nerve, parasympathetic, and sympathetic nerve. Here in this diagram, you can see this is brainstem, midbrain, pons, and medulla. Here is the inferior salivary nucleus. This is inferior salivary nucleus. This is inferior salivary nucleus. Here is position of 9th cranial nerve. This is 9th cranial nerve. There is glossopharyngeal nerve. Inferior salivary nucleus sends their fiber through this nerve. It passes through jugular foramen. Here lies jugular foramen. This is jugular foramen. It passes through jugular foramen. This is glossopharyngeal nerve. And it gives branch after passing through this. It gives branch here. Just this is tympanic branch. This branch is tympanic branch, which form the tympanic plexus. This is tympanic plexus. Tympanic plexus. And from tympanic plexus, a nerve arises, that is lesser petrosal nerve. This is lesser petrosal nerve. And here is position of, this is foramen ovale. This foramen ovale, through this foramen, one nerve, that is mandibular nerve, passes. This mandibular nerve, after passing the foramen, it divides into 2 divisions, anterior division and posterior division. And posterior division gives 3 branches. It gives lingual branch, inferior alveolar branch, and here is auriculotemporal branch. This branch is especially auriculotemporal branch. This is auriculotemporal nerve. This auriculotemporal nerve, here is position of the gland. This auriculotemporal nerve, this is gland, gives supply to the gland. This auriculotemporal nerve gives supply to the gland. These fibers are sensory fibers. So sensory fibers comes through mandibular nerve, gives supply to the gland through the auriculotemporal branch. And here, this is inferior salivary nucleus. It passes through fibers from here, passes through ninth cranial nerve, goes through the tympanic branch. It forms tympanic plexus. Then here is lesser petrosal nerve. It passes through foramen ovale here. And here is otic ganglion. This is otic ganglion. This is otic ganglion. Here it synapse here, otic ganglion, and from here post-ganglionic fibers passes and joins to this auriculotemporal nerve and gives supply to the gland. So these are parasympathetic or secretomotor fibers. This is root of secretomotor fibers. You have seen the sensory fibers comes from this, and parasympathetic, that is secretomotor fibers, comes from the inferior salivary nucleus and gives supply to this. And the thing, that is sympathetic fibers. Here is position of the, this is middle meningeal artery. This is middle meningeal artery. This is, here is sympathetic plexus around this middle meningeal artery. It passes this sympathetic plexus, passes into the posterior auricular nerve, auriculotemporal nerve, and gives supply to the gland. So this is nerve supply of the parotid gland. Thank you. Now we'll discuss about the parotid gland part 5. In this section we will discuss about the parotid duct. Parotid duct is a thick-walled tubular structure. Its length is about 5 cm. It extends from the anterior border of, here you can see this is anterior border of parotid gland. Here. It passes forward, downward. This is parotid gland. This is anterior border here. It initially passes over the masseter. This is masseter. If you, the schematic diagram, here I am drawing schematic diagram. Here is position of the masseter. It passes over the masseter. Then here is the anterior border of the masseter. It turns and it pierces buccal pad of the fat. Here is buccal pad of the fat. This is buccal pad of the fat. So it pierces buccal pad of the fat. Then buccopharyngeal fascia. Then it pierces buccopharyngeal fascia. This is buccopharyngeal fascia. Then it crosses obliquely to the buccinator muscle. Here lies buccinator muscle. This is buccinator muscle. This passes obliquely to the buccinator muscle. Here. Then it passes through the mucosa. Here is mucosa of the vestibule, and here is a papilla in the vestibule through which opens into the vestibule of the mouth. If you make here another diagram, here is position of, this is position of the vestibule of the mouth. Here is, this is a root of the, this is vestibule of the mouth. So here it opens into the papilla. This is papilla, Then it opens in the vestibule of mouth at the level of opposite the upper second molar teeth. This is upper second molar tooth. This is upper second molar tooth. This is vestibule. It opens opposite to this. So this is pathway of the parotid duct. So this is all about the parotid gland. Thank you.